June 28, 1914. A beautiful summer day in Sarajevo, but this day would end in a gunshot that plunged the world into darkness, igniting a war that claimed over 20 million lives. This is the story of the bullet that sparked a global catastrophe. Our story begins not with generals and armies, but with a handful of young, radicalized students. They were members of a secret society called the Black Hand, a group fiercely dedicated to Serbian nationalism. Their goal, to liberate Serbs living under Austro-Hungarian rule and create a unified Slavic state. Their target, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Why him to the world? Franz Ferdinand was the future emperor. But to these Serbian nationalists he was a symbol of oppression. He had plans for reform, proposing to grant more autonomy to the Slavic peoples within the empire. But this was a threat to their dream of complete independence. They believed his reforms would pacify the people and kill their revolutionary spirit. So, they decided he had to die. The date of the Archduke's visit couldn't have been more provocative. June 28th was a sacred day for Serbs, the anniversary of the Battle of Kosovo, a historic defeat against the Ottoman Empire. For the Archduke to parade through Sarajevo on this day was seen as a deliberate insult. The stage was set for a deadly confrontation. The assassins, armed with bombs and pistols, positioned themselves along the Archduke's parade route. The first attempt was a clumsy failure. One conspirator, Nedeljko Vabranovia, threw a bomb at the Archduke's car, but the bomb had a 10-second delay. It bounced off the convertible's folded roof and exploded under the car behind, injuring several officers and onlookers. Thinking the danger was over, the Archduke decided to continue his visit. He even made a defiant speech at City Hall, scolding the mayor for the violent reception. But then, he made a fateful decision. He wanted to visit the officers injured by the bomb in the hospital. This was not part of the original plan. No one had told his driver about the change of route. As the motorcade made its way through the city, the driver, following the original route, made a wrong turn onto Franz Joseph Street. The governor, sitting in the car with the Archduke, shouted, "What is this? This is the wrong way. We're supposed to go along the Appel Quay." The driver stopped the car and began to slowly reverse. And right there, standing on that very street corner, was another one of the assassins, a 19-year-old named Gavrilo Princip. After the first failed attempt, he had given up and gone to a nearby delicatessen. Now, by a 1 in a million chance, history had delivered his target directly to him. The Archduke's car stalled just 5 feet away. Princip didn't hesitate. He stepped forward, drew his pistol, and fired 2 shots. The first bullet struck the Archduke's wife, Sophie, in the abdomen. The second hit Franz Ferdinand in the neck, severing his jugular vein. According to witnesses, the Archduke's last words were, "Sophie, Sophie, don't die, live for our children." But it was too late. Both were dead within minutes. The assassination sent shockwaves across Europe. Austria-Hungary, outraged, was determined to punish Serbia. They saw this as the perfect excuse to crush the Serbian nationalist movement once and for all. Germany, Austria-Hungary's powerful ally, gave them a blank check, promising unconditional support for whatever action they took. Vienna issued a harsh ultimatum to Serbia, a list of demands so extreme they were almost impossible to accept. They demanded that Serbia suppress all anti-Austrian propaganda and allow Austro-Hungarian officials to participate in the investigation of the assassination on Serbian soil. This was a direct challenge to Serbia's sovereignty. Serbia, with the backing of its Slavic protector, Russia, agreed to most of the demands but rejected the one that would violate its constitution. This was the opening Austria-Hungary needed. On July 28, 1914, exactly 1 month after the assassination, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. What followed was a catastrophic chain reaction, a domino effect that no one seemed able to stop. Russia, seeing itself as the defender of the Slavic peoples, began to mobilize its massive army to support Serbia. This alarmed Germany, which saw Russian mobilization as a direct threat. Germany declared war on Russia. Then, Germany turned its attention to France, Russia's ally, to invade France quickly. Germany planned to march through neutral Belgium. This act of aggression against a neutral country triggered Britain's entry into the war. As Britain had pledged to defend Belgian neutrality within a week, the great powers of Europe were at war. The complex web of alliances, designed to keep the peace, had instead created a trap. The Triple Entente, France, Britain, and Russia, was now locked in a death struggle with the Central Powers, Germany and Austria-Hungary. What started as a regional conflict had exploded into a continental war. The war they expected to be over by Christmas would drag on for 4 brutal years. It would introduce the world to the horrors of trench warfare, poison gas, and industrial-scale slaughter. It redrew the map of Europe, toppling empires and creating new nations. The Austro-Hungarian, German, Ottoman, and Russian empires all collapsed. The aftermath was just as devastating. The Treaty of Versailles, which officially ended the war, imposed crippling reparations on Germany, creating deep resentment that would later fuel the rise of Adolf Hitler and lead to a second, even more destructive world war just 2 decades later. And it all started with one young man, Gavrilo Princip, and 2 bullets fired on a street corner in Sarajevo. Was he a hero or a villain? A freedom fighter or a terrorist? That depends on who you ask. To this day, In parts of the Balkans, he is celebrated as a patriot who fought for his people's freedom. To the rest of the world, he is the man whose actions ignited the flame that set the world on fire. The story of the assassination is a chilling reminder of how a single event, a single decision, can have unimaginable consequences. It's a story of nationalism, chance, and a series of fatal miscalculations. It shows us how a world, seemingly stable, can be pushed over the brink into chaos by a single, violent act. The shot fired by Gavrilo Princip wasn't just heard in Sarajevo, it echoed across the globe, and its reverberations can still be felt today. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey into history as fascinating as I did, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. See you next time.